The Sims has been a part of my life for about 7 years now, and I'm sure a lot of you have had that same experience. YouTubers like Little Simsy introduced me to these games when I was a kid, and I remember always wanting to play them, but I never had the resources to do so. About 2 years ago, I finally got an Xbox One, and with it, I got The Sims 4. I can't even explain how happy I was to finally play this game that I had wanted to play for so many years. I've been playing my own personal legacy challenge for I believe 4 generations now, and it got me to thinking, why don't I just play one for all of you? This legacy is by no means perfect. I wrote it up to be very loose, so you can really make it your own if you decide to play it yourself. I also want to note that this legacy is very much inspired by Lil Sibsy, who I mentioned earlier. Right now on her channel, she's doing a Chaos legacy where she plays on short lifespan, and like mine, hers doesn't have too many rules, and she kind of plays it as she goes. I love Little Simsy's channel, and I'm grateful to be able to follow in her footsteps. I will be linking your channel down in the description, and I do recommend checking her out. Now that we got all that out of the way, let me introduce you to the Willow Legacy. I actually speak so incredibly slow in this next section that I'm gonna speed it up, so if I sound a little high-pitched, that's why. Generation 1 starts out with this description. You come from a family with little money who lives day by day, barely getting by. You can't help but want more for your life than what your parents had. So, after they pass, you move out to a new town to get a fresh start. Here are the Generation 1 requirements. Start out in a tiny home, have the world-famous celebrity or master actress aspiration, fabulously wealthy or mansion bearer only if the other two aren't available. I mainly wrote this in so if you're playing base game or you don't have Get Famous, you can still play this legacy. Have at least one of your traits be popularity related. Some examples are party animal, dance machine, bro, good, insider, outgoing, self-absorbed, etc. This Sim's very much a partier, so you want to make sure that you have at least one trait that backs that. This one is very much so optional, but marry someone famous or a land grab. I'm debating whether or not I'll have my Sim marry a land grab because that's just hilarious. Generation requirements have been satisfied once your aspiration is completed. This pretty much means that anything listed above that applies to every generation and everything that applies to the current generation must be completed, or else you lose, I guess. I'm not really sure what you would do if you didn't do all the requirements, but they're not so difficult that you won't complete them, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. With that, let me explain all the basic rules of this legacy that you must follow. Your first generation sim starts out with starting funds. Any leftover funds after building/buying a house must be cheated back down to 0. This is just so you can get that little dream house that you want. You don't have to worry about starting out on an empty plot because I hate doing that. Also, once your sim gets married, they're not allowed to take their spouse's household funds. This one's kind of self-explanatory. The gender of each generation starting sim does not matter. You are allowed to move lots when necessary. Quality of life cheats such as BB.move objects are allowed, but cheats that give you an in-game advantage like money or hard to find items are not allowed. While I'm writing this, I understand that things like plants and some aspirations are glitched, so cheats to bypass those glitches are allowed. Just don't do anything that gives you an unfair advantage. Each generation starting sim must max out at least one skill. Lifespan is completely up to you, but I would recommend short lifespan just because it makes a generation shorter so you don't get bored as quickly. Every generation must have at least one child. This can be either your sim giving birth, your sim's partner giving birth, or even having a science baby. That's completely up to you. This next one is specifically for growing together. If you don't have growing together, just ignore this one. Your children must have at least 3 milestones for each life state before aging up. Sims that don't meet this requirement cannot be the heir for the next generation. This applies to infants, toddlers, children, and teens. Accommodations for a lack of certain packs is definitely allowed. This challenge was written to be flexible, and I want to make sure that anyone can play it, no matter if you have a million packs, or if you have 2 packs, or if you have no packs at all. I want everyone to be able to play this challenge. Now that I am finally done rambling, let's get into the sim you've been seeing me build in the background this entire video. I am so happy to finally introduce you to Sage Willow. Sage goes by they them pronouns, and they aspire to be a world-famous celebrity. They have the party animal, vegetarian, and self-absorbed trait. I don't remember if I changed it, but I originally was gonna have this sim be erratic, but then I realized that self-absorbed was probably more fitting. I know in the future though I will have an erratic sim, don't worry, I love that trait. I like to say that Sage is a teen in an adult's body. She loves to party, she loves to go out and hang out with people, she has a ton of partners, she just wants to be it, you know? When I was designing this sim, I wanted her to look very modern, very influencer, so I have things like crop sweaters and just very modern looking clothing. I don't really know if crop sweaters are modern, but I digress. I believe at the beginning I'm gonna have Sage have a lot of partners and then eventually meet that one soulmate. I don't really have a preference for the gender that Sage ends up getting with, but if I do end up following through with that plan of her getting with a land grab, then I'll probably end up having her get with the son in that family. I just like blanked his name, but you know exactly who I'm talking about. That's really all for today's video. I hope you guys are excited for the new Let's Play. I know I am, and I will try to get the first episode out as soon as possible. That's all for today. Goodbye, my stars.